Hey everybody, welcome to Big Balls Fantasy Football, the show with powerful picks, sexy super fans, and is really fun. I am your host, 20-year fantasy veteran and diehard Bears fan, Greg Reifsteck.
And I'm your co-host, Jenilee Borek, also a diehard Chicago Bears fan, and I've been playing fantasy for a while now, and together we are the beauty
and the beast
of fantasy football experts.
So we also have a second beauty in the house right now, all decked out in her Bears gear. Hi, Zoe.
Hey, Zoe. So yeah, Zoe's our new mascot on our show, and she has her little ponytail in, and we got her in some Bears gear. She got her little Bears t-shirt, so she's all officially ready to go for the season, so you'll be seeing her here on Big Balls Fantasy Football.
And how long has she been a Bears fan?
She has been a Bears fan, well, she'll be 3 in November. So almost 3 years now, she's been a Bears fan.
Yep, and I bet she knows a lot more than some of those NFL Network experts out there. Yes, we're talking to you. Later in the season, we're actually going to have her make some picks for us.
We are. We're going to try something new this season on Big Balls. We're always trying to add new things.
Yeah,
so
we got to
hey,
keep it fun. We got to keep it fun. So speaking of the Bears, let's get into this week's game. The Bears kind of got to feel like the Broncos in the Super Bowl because they got their ass kicked by them this week.
Yeah, they played in Seattle, which is always a great test. I'd rather play them in the preseason than the regular season.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
But if you really want a good test of where you're at, play the Super Bowl champs.
Yeah, hey, Packers, you get to start the season there. Good fucking luck. Have fun.
They're tough. So what did you see in the game? Because I know you got to see the entire game while you were on vacation. I had to kind of watch it afterwards a little bit more
and
so.
I got to watch it with Seattle fans up in Eugene, Oregon, and it was interesting watching up there. The Bears just offensively look wonderful. I mean, even with a little bit of a struggle, even though there were, a few drop passes, a few problems, I'm not worried about us on offense at all. We now have an official backup quarterback.
Yeah, we absolutely do. Clausen got the backup job over Jordan Palmer, so Palmer was officially cut. I heard the competition was really good in camp. They pretty much gave them equal playing time in the preseason to show what they had. It's just that Clausen ended up playing better. So
Palmer was also very classy. He's now a Buffalo Bill. They picked him up today. And he was just really classy on his Twitter. He's like, Bears are a world-class organization. And he actually said that we have an MVP quarterback, is what he tweeted in Cutler.
Yeah, and and he said he would continue rooting for the Chicago Bears, which I thought was kind of an interesting thing. Kind of cool, though.
Especially because we're going to play the Bills first, right at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, that would be interesting. But yeah, I'm with you right there on the offense. I'm not concerned. Marshall and Jeffrey are going to be catching those passes in the regular season. They're not going to make many mistakes. And what I also liked to see that went on the offensive side of the ball was that the noise being in that type of environment didn't completely throw us off. There weren't a lot of false starts. There weren't a lot of delay of games. I think there was one delay of game, and I think maybe one false start. So that's not bad at all considering it's Seattle. The noise is crazy. Cutler looked poised as well. He looks confident in the offense. So a lot of good things coming out, even though they didn't get to score with the first team.
Where we weren't hanging tough was on defense. Not cool, guys. And it's even being summed up by our defensive coordinator, which is really sad. He actually let himself get quoted in the press by saying, none of us are where we need to be right now. That's not too confident, Mel. And after that statement, like on Facebook, it blew up, and people were calling for his head to be fired in preseason. Which, that's pretty bad.
Yeah, and I don't know. I think we've said before, we really don't know if it's Tucker's fault. Last year was all the injuries and everything like that. So we couldn't really see what he could do as a coordinator. And, now there's a new group. There's, a lot of new guys in there as well. I'm not worried about our defensive line. I think our front is going to be fine. Jared Allen, of course, didn't play in Seattle, but they were getting pressure. They need to work on containing. That's where they lost Russell Wilson a little bit when he was able to get out of the pocket. But I think our front's going to be okay. I'm more concerned with, again, the middle of the field, the linebackers, and the safeties. I'm okay with our corners. Again, I think that, Tillman and Jennings are going to be fine. Once the real season gets here, they're going to be, amped up for it. Yeah. But the middle of the field, if I was an opposing offense, I would be throwing everything in the middle of the field. Because there's absolutely nothing we've shown right now to this point that we can do about that area.
I don't know what schemes are being set up by the coach, but there's huge gaps in the middle. We're playing this crazy zone stuff again, where you or I could throw into the goddamn coverage and get a score. It's just really, really scary. A lot of journalists have also been talking about the age of our defense. We were pretty notorious at having a lot of youth, and I looked at the cuts, and we got rid of a lot of young talent. I know you have to, evaluate and get rid of the people that have competed for a position and have won. Mm-hmm. But, Briggs is 34, Tillman's 33, Ratliff's 33, Jared Allen and DJ Williams are 32, and Jennings is 30. For a defense, that's, as we said, everybody looks a step behind.
Yeah, and I think that, speaking of age, I think what they did this year was they tried to fill in as much as they could to improve us. But really where you have to work on the age thing for the most part is in the draft. And they did spend, basically almost all of their draft picks and their early draft picks for that matter on defense. So we have young guys, but we just don't have young guys that are going to be starting off the bat, except for Kyle Fuller. We're expecting him to make a big impact this year. But as for the second, third, fourth rounders that we got, I don't think they're going to be playing a whole lot of snaps this year, but that's hopefully where those guys build up to be dominant starters. So
we're just going to have to be patient.
Patient
until maybe next season. We're halfway through the season. We'll see if everybody gels and everybody gets on the same page. But I have a feeling we're going to, on defense for the beginning of the season, I don't think we're going to see any, miracle defense.
And again, if we can be a top 15 defense, we absolutely have a shot. It's just, we can't be as bad as last year. We were historically bad, and that can't happen. We can't be, ranked 30th overall. That's not gonna get us into the playoffs. So if we can just kind of get that middle ground going defensively, then we're gonna be okay. Now, what scares me more than defense is special teams.
Yikes!
Once again, what the hell is going on? With our special teams, it wasn't just because we lost Hester. Because if you've watched the Atlanta games, Hester's not really doing a whole lot down there either, returning. Right. So, I know he was he was a great player for us, and it does suck when you lose a great player, but he's not making even that much of an impact, in Atlanta where he went. But we're not able to cover guys. We're not able to tackle, block. We're not able to do anything.
Yeah, whoever our special teams coach really needs to get it together, because we're not getting past the 20 at all. We're not getting past 20. And if we're having to deal with our defense being a little unreliable and get crappy field position, it's going to be a long season, everybody.
And on the opposite end, we're allowing the opposite team to start at the 40 or the 35 on every drive. And that doesn't help your defense out either. Especially when you have a little bit of questions on the defense as of right now. The special teams has been horrible. So I think I'm more fearful for that group of guys versus I think the defense will start to gel once the regular season is in. I did hear that only about 20% of the defense is actually, package-wise, is what they've been doing in the preseason. So most of their defensive packages aren't even, being played yet. So that gives me a little bit of hope.
Thank goodness we're playing the Bills first. God, we're playing the Bills.
They look crappy on offense. So we can stop them.
And tee off on them in the beginning. And speaking of teeing off, this week we are going to talk about kickers, fantasy sleeper kickers, and defenses. Now, one of my I'll save that for our defensive segment about what I think about the ranking of the Bears' defense in every fantasy football magazine that I've seen. It's pretty hilarious.
I think I know where you're going to go with that. I think I do. So we will be back in just a second with defenses.